you know, disturbing in a way, and very emotionally wrenching. Do you think people will challenge you or have people challenge you about the accuracy
Absolutely.
of your comments?
One of the things that's been the most difficult for me since I came back was I really did try to tell people exactly what I saw with no embellishment. And it's almost possible for many people, Jewish and non-Jewish, to believe the reality of what I'm saying. And that, of course, makes me feel crazy, because then I think I made this up, but I know I didn't make it up.
Well, that was going to be my next question. For me, I've never been to Israel. And, of course, I'm not Jewish, but for me, I don't want to almost believe it, that this could actually happen. Is this reality?
Unfortunately, it is, and it's much worse than I even portrayed it. The checkpoints, the lack of water in the territories is unimaginable, and the lack of work. And
well, I know there is a lack of work. And it's interesting because I've been told that Jewish people can't go to Bethlehem.
Oh, Jewish people aren't allowed to go into the checkpoints. I mean, Israelis, it's different. You see, if you're American, you can go anywhere. But Israelis, unless they're serving in the West Bank or the perimeter of Gaza or the territories, which Palestinians and I do refer to the location as Palestine, Israelis can't go.
Well, we're going to have the second excerpt now, which is the journalist who is Jewish and how she feels and how she reacts to what she sees. So we're going to that now.
There is a house next to land that belonged to the house that was taken by the settlers to make a synagogue. Inside the house, there is a room with 2 beds, one against each wall. The women sit lined up on the beds. There is a visitor sitting with the woman. She asks questions, many questions in English. The visitor speaks English. The women do not understand. The youngest one, a girl, maybe 12 years old, translates into Arabic. The visitor learns slowly. The girl's mother was in prison for 5 months. The visitor wants to know, what did the mother do to end up in prison? The daughter shrugs her thin shoulders. All the women on both beds shrug. There are 9 women in the room sitting on 2 beds shrugging. There are no chairs. The visitor watches the women. Why, she asks, pointing at the mother. Prison. She asks the girl again, why? The room is quiet. The shrugging women don't speak. The visitor sees a cactus growing inside one of the cement blocks the house is made of. The visitor knows the mother is the cactus. The mother stands and nods at her daughter. The mother starts to take off her shirt. The visitor doesn't understand. The mother walks over to the visitor. The mother removes her bra in front of the visitor. She turns her back to the visitor. The visitor sees red, thick red scars up and down the mother's back. She wants to touch the skin that is so swollen and scarred, thick red, shades of red, dark red, light red, brown red, mud red, scabs everywhere on the mother's back, black and blue red. The mother says one word. The mother repeats the word over and over again. The women weep in each other's arms, weeping and weeping. The mother with the mud-red scars on her back stands still. The daughter comes and takes the mother's right hand, coffee. The mother can't stop saying the word. The visitor begins to understand what happens. No one is talking. Coffee. The mother with the scarred back was in prison for 5 months. And there was the guard's coffee, hot, scalding black coffee in prison. Somebody poured hot, scalding black coffee down the mother's back, over and over again. The skin never heals. Hot, burning coffee down the mother's back, and all the other inmates have to watch. The mother stands in the center of the inmates who have to watch with their eyes open. The daughter speaks to the visitor, an example. They made my mother an example so the others would behave. And the visitor sees all the inmates watching steaming black coffee slide down the mother's back, turning red. The visitor doesn't know what to say. Who will believe her when she goes back to the States? She wants to thank the women. She wants to wrap the mother in magnificent silk scarves, sea breeze blue, spring green, yellow, the yolk of an egg, scarves so soft to the touch. The silk almost melts in your hands. The visitor imagines wrapping the mother in healing silk scarves of many colors to make the scars go away forever and ever. Silk scarves forever. But the visitor has no silk scarves. She has nothing to give the mother. She has nothing to give the daughter, whose mother's back is scarred. The mother is ashamed of her ugly back. She turns and looks the visitor in the eyes. In the eyes there is nothing. Nothing is in the mother's eyes. The visitor leaves. She cannot stay, or she will throw up. In her hotel room, the visitor throws up, heaves all the food that the women give her to eat. They spend weeks, she is told, saving up to buy all the food. They spend hours preparing for her visit. Into the toilet, she heaves and heaves chunks of lamb seasoned with rosemary and garlic, stuffed grape leaves, sprinkled with feta cheese, chopped tomatoes and ripe cucumbers with fresh lemon juice and olive oil. The woman keeps heaving. Toasted almond bits and sesame candy that they give her for dessert, and mint tea. They say that she must eat. It is their custom. She is their guest. So she eats and eats and eats, stuffing herself. She cannot stop eating and feeling. She cannot stop feeling that she has made a terrible mistake. This wasn't supposed to happen. On this trip, she wanted to meet women from the other side so she could tell their stories. Now she feels ridiculous. She wanted to stand in line at the checkpoints to see what it is really like. But Americans go in a different line. They do not have to wait in line at the checkpoint. Americans are almost never searched or stopped. They are free to come and go, even where Israelis cannot go. She finds out that most Israelis never see the checkpoints, or the rubble from the bulldozers, or the uprooted olive trees. Israelis really don't know what's going on, she found out, unless they serve their duty at the checkpoint, or in the West Bank and the territories. Palestine. She keeps reminding herself to say Palestine. She knows there are soldiers who refuse to serve at the checkpoints and the perimeter of Gaza. When she is done throwing up, she lies down on her huge king-size bed. She gasps for air. She is sure she is suffocating, even though the air conditioner is on. She keeps going over and over in her mind everything she saw and heard today. And since she first arrived in the country before leaving the States, she thought she'd write a book about what she saw in her beloved homeland. She would write it all down, the good and the bad, but now she knows she will never write a word of what she saw because she cannot find the words to tell the story. No one will believe her. She will go mad, she thinks, because no one will believe her when she tells the truth. She has lost all the words. The language to describe it all no longer exists. She tells herself that the situation isn't as bad as what she saw, that it isn't really as bad as she knows. She starts to lie to herself. Otherwise, how can she go on? There is no other choice but to lie and to forget as much as she can what she sees and hears.
She is ambivalent, I think.
Yes,
Shocked,
she is.
shocked, but yet ambivalent.
Yes.
In the end, though, doesn't she, though, really, she feels that, well, she is an Israeli. She wasn't born in Israel. And doesn't she feel that she can't tell the story? She'll never forget it, but she really can't tell the story.
She believes she can't tell the story.
Unlike you.
Unlike me, although I still feel I can't tell the story.
You usually, you get people, like Terry Schiavo, Schiavo Inc., and If Only I Were Born a Kosher Chicken, you usually interweave a lot of your own personal feelings or personal autobiography into your work, but this one is different.
This one is different. This is the way it came to me, and I think writing in the third person actually allowed me to go deeper into the material this time. Other times it works in the reverse, when I can really talk about myself.
And you wrote a book, Cravings, which is autobiographical.
Yes.
And there's another book that you wrote, that
Hot Chicken Wings.
Hot Chicken Wings, and you also teach. Now you teach women's studies.
I teach women's studies and creative writing.
And creative writing. And what are you teaching at Suffolk now?
Right now I teach the Intro to Women's Studies course and memoir writing.
Oh, that's right, memoir writing. Yeah.
Advanced feminist theory.
Do you think everyone should write their memoir?
I think everyone has a story to tell.
I think so, but does everyone want to really?
Yeah.
Is everyone that interesting
you know,
that they should write a story?
I tell my students that you're turning your life into art and you have to craft the story. So there is a real art to writing a memoir.
I've heard that more people write memoirs and try to get them published than any other form of book.
Yeah, I have heard that too.
And it makes me laugh because I sometimes think, well, most people's stories are just not that interesting. If you want to leave the audience with something to say about, something to think about from Girl Kicks Girl, what is it?
I'd like to ask the audience not to be afraid to hear the truth in the piece, and you can still totally love Israel, but you have to really understand the situation on the ground.
Well, it'll give our audience some food for thought, and I'm sure I will get mail or telephone calls. But that's what the purpose of this program is, and that's what's wonderful about being at New TV, because you can present controversial material and no one will squash it.
I really appreciate the opportunity to.
And I want to thank you for coming here, because I know you're very busy and you're an artist and you're a professional, and I want to thank you for coming here today, Dr. Felman.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And thank you for watching Studio Playhouse.